some time just to stop and pause. So feel free to have your video on or your video off. And the main thing is to be comfortable as you can. So this will just take, 3 minutes. You can have your eyes open, eyes closed. But begin just by noticing the space around you. You might look around. Or just notice the sounds around you. Notice the space, even if it's very familiar. Take it in. And maybe begin to notice your body, particularly where it's supported. Where do you feel it connecting to whatever's supporting you? A chair, the floor, just feeling that. And let it rest into that support. And then maybe noticing your breathing from there, just your gentle rhythm of the breath, however that is for you, just not changing it, letting it be as it is. And then just being curious. How are you right now? How is your body right now? Just noticing this sense of your body inside. Does it feel okay in there? Maybe it feels different. Maybe it feels some kind of not okay. Maybe there are emotions or sensations. Or maybe your mind is busy, busy, busy. Just noticing whatever is here without judgment. Or if you do notice judgment, notice that. And then, just take just another 30 seconds being present to how you are. And then gently bringing that to a close. Okay. So I'll just introduce myself and the theme and then we'll dive in. So my name is Peter Gil. I'm a teacher of a methodology, an approach called focusing. Focusing is, in essence, about how to listen to your body. That's the simplest way I'll explain it right now, how to listen to your body. And tonight I'm talking about an application of this practice called untangling. So where we take the same method to explore things in our life that feel tangled. And tonight I want to explore really what is a tangle? How does a tangle form? A little bit about the different kinds of parts that show up, different dimensions of our inner experience. And then we'll also do an experiential or guided process about how to be with ourselves. One of the biggest troubles we get into in maybe a life, but certainly in this process is we fall into our experience. We become our emotions. We become all of our emotion, all of our thoughts. We think it's all of us. So we'll do an exercise to help us build some space. So where we can accompany ourselves, where we can witness ourselves. So yeah, that's our plan for this evening. We should be here 50 minutes, something like that. And there'll be time for questions as well. Please put questions in the chat. Let me know if there's something you don't understand. Also, yeah. So firstly, just to say something very simple about what I mean by tangle. A tangle is a part of our life that feels tangled or impossible, stuck, repetitive, um, reactive. It's those parts of our lives we might also recognize through compulsion, through always falling into the same reactive patterns to somebody with somebody, or always or never getting around to something. The opposite of compulsion is avoidance, so we're patterns of avoidance. These are often areas that are called tangled, and they can really limit our lives and make things very difficult. So this approach was really born from how do we use the wisdom from focusing to untangle what seems impossible. And I've been practicing it for probably nearly 20 years now on and off, and I've been teaching focusing for that long. And yeah, this dimension of focusing, this untangling, has been a very big part of that process. So yeah, and I'm learning to teach it professionally, and hence this retreat coming up. So yeah, so tangle is a place in our life that feels impossible. So I want to share some slides about how a tangle forms. Hopefully it will make sense. Let me just share the slide. Let me just. Can you see that? Great. Let's hope this works. Oh yeah, how a tangle forms. So how a tangle forms. I use the image of a river. So a river is like an image of a healthy organism. Just flow. We're flowing through life. We're expressing ourselves. We're kind of um, moving freely, finding what we need when we need it. Essential needs are met. So river is kind of an image of of a life that flows. But sometimes something else happens. We get a stoppage. Stoppage is a funny word. Stoppage comes from Eugene Gendlin, the developer of focusing. But I quite like it. I'll put his name in the chat. Eugene Gendlin. He was a person who made focusing explicit. It's really a natural human process, but he kind of made it more visible. So stoppage is when something happens where our life cannot move forward, where something we need is not available, something essential, not just something we want, but something very essential like safety or nourishment. And sometimes, we can move and around a stoppage. We can adapt and we can make a different life. But sometimes stoppage becomes something that is impossible to get past. We call that traumatic stoppage, where something that is really needed for the person, for the organism, is not available. And it could be, like a secure attachment, or it could be safety, for example. And this really is the heart of a tangle. This is the heart of a tangle. Another way of exploring this whole topic is, oh yeah, so when living forward cannot happen, and when there is no support. So sorry, yes. Stoppage is another way of defining stoppage, is when your living forward cannot happen and there's no support. That's important. Often when we get support, we can move our way through difficulties. But when there's no support, particularly when we was younger, this happens. This is when stoppage happens. Not the same as a challenge. Also, it's not the same as something that's just difficult. We might be facing challenges, health challenges or money challenges, and we have a plan and we can move through it. It's not that kind of process. This is something that doesn't seem to change no matter what you throw at it. Yes, and then we get left with a traumatic stoppage and a tangle. So a tangle is how our body's way of dealing with this process. Another way of looking at this is also the idea of freezing, um, becoming frozen. It's a similar kind of word. But I want to share one last piece. Another way of looking at this is through the metaphor or the experience of exiles. So we have parts of our life that are kept at bay. They're exiled. That's another way of talking about stoppage is we have exiles. This might be a language you might be familiar with if you know internal family systems. They speak of exiles. So I want to share a story. This is not my story. This is a made up story, but I like to share it. It's from my teacher called Anne Weiser Cornell, and it's about how we can meet exiles. And it's a lovely way of talking about this whole thing. So once upon a time, there was a boy who had a dog. The boy and the dog loved each other and played happily as dear friends. But one day, the dog did something the boy's parents didn't like. To appease his parents, the boy had to send the dog away. Years passed, and the boy forgot there had ever been a dog. But inside him there was a place where something was missing. When he was a man, this missing place called to him so strongly that he had to go in search of what he needed. His search brought him to the edge of a forest. Not knowing why, he found himself sitting and waiting. Slowly, gradually, two burning eyes appeared in the darkness of the forest. The young man waited. Slowly, gradually, a long pointed nose emerged. The young man waited. Finally, out of the forest, slinking, there came an animal, thin, scarred, muddy, matted with burrs. You would hardly know it had ever been a dog. The young man greeted it softly. Hello. The ugly dog stopped, untrusting. The young man felt it in his body, the memory stirring of the good and happy times with his friend. He said to the animal before him, I want to know how it has been for you, all these years in exile. And in his own way, the dog told him. Sad, lonely, scared, bitter. The young man told the dog that he had heard it. He heard all that it had gone through. And with his hearing, the dog visibly softened, became warmer and more trusting. After some time, it came close enough to be touched. When a young man touched the dog, he could feel the missing place inside him begin to fill in. And soon after, he took the dog home, gave it a bath and a warm place by the fire. After it felt loved again, it was no longer ugly. It was beautiful. So maybe I want to pause that sharing for a moment and just open. If there's anything that I've said so far that you just want to clarify about maybe what a tangle is, or even a question about focusing, just pausing to check we're doing okay. You feel free to put something in the chat. Feel free to ask in Portuguese, and I will ask Sagara to translate, it not being my language. Okay.
Peter, I was wondering if we could have an example. Now, a literal example. Have you had a metaphorical example that had, like in one's lives,
Yes.
how, yeah.
What a tangle looks like in your life.
What kind of tangles do people come up with?
Yeah. Well, typically it would be areas where, well, a compulsion, I mean, the tangle of mine could be finding it hard to, or even though I don't want to fill my evenings watching Amazon Prime or Netflix. I know I definitely want to get around to being more creative and I want to do something different. Something in me, some part of me takes over and 3 hours have gone by. And wow, so some compulsive. I mean, that's a bit less often these days, but compulsive activity, substances or activities, compulsions is very typical. Or the other extreme is the opposite when we really want to meet someone, meet a partner, or really want to get around to a work project or to changing our life, in some way we really been longing to do. But it never happens. We get stuck, we get blocked. Those are typical kind of manifestations of tangles, or never feeling, always having a feeling of missing, like we're always missing something. Yeah,
So, ah, um, so because I'm thinking of the story that you just told,
yeah,
and I'm kind of wondering the relationship between an
mm,
exile part and the tangle. Because
yeah,
the boy, the man, we didn't get to know what kind of tangle
yeah. That's
man
right. Yeah,
in his life, but there was an exile part. So I
yeah,
was wondering, maybe would it make sense to tell us a bit about that relationship between
yeah.
exile
Definitely. Yeah,
and
yeah,
tangle?
yeah. Sure. I guess an Excel. Well, I think I'll come back to it, if that's okay, because the next bit will make it bring them together. Yeah, but it's a good question. Exactly. Yeah. An exiled part is the heart of the tangle, let's say, the part where we're spending a lot of our time avoiding coming into contact with.
Okay.
That's
So the
basically,
exile part is the heart of the tangle.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that'll become, I think, apparent in the next piece. So let's do these next slides, and then let's do a share. Okay. So the tangle. So first of all, yeah, we have this creation. This is how a tangle is formed, the creation of a stuck place, a stoppage, something that really needs to happen, that was essential for our well-being, for our safety, didn't happen. We could call that, at that point this is the terminology from Untangling. We get the creation of a small one. This is the younger part of you, most likely younger, but not always, that really felt the pain of that difficulty. It's yeah, your the kind of place in our being, in our body, that we really feel the pain of that stoppage. But then, because that pain is unbearable, and importantly, there's no one around to help us manage it, this next piece comes, which we could call a defender. Don't worry about the names, but something happens to try and manage this painful experience, usually trying to keep us away from it. We want to keep away from the pain because we don't have any way of meeting it. So we try and manage the experience of stoppage through, yeah, numbing out, taking something that makes us feel, or doing something that brings a numbing or a distraction, always avoiding the experience of that pain. It's our body's best attempt to deal with something that's, from its point of view, impossible and unbearable. The trouble is that doesn't work. The trouble is, um, the that process doesn't really work. It works short term. We do get some relief from, temporarily, maybe, but it doesn't really deal with the original river that's blocked. It doesn't really deal with that. So then we get a third place. So, go back. Come on. So the next kind of part comes in, which is called a protector, or we could call these critics and judges. These are the kinds of parts in your life that have a lot to say about your troubles. You should be over it by now. Why are you being so pathetic? Don't be so frightened. You're an idiot. You're worthless. No one else is as bad as you at this. You might recognize these voices. And they step in because none of the previous processes really work. They are the backseat drivers of a tangle. So they're trying desperately to manage a difficult situation because it is not being managed. Um, so yeah, no wonder we get tangled. We have this. Really, the whole thing is like a big constellation of bad management, trying to manage this overwhelming experience or an unbearable experience, because there really isn't enough. There is not enough love and empathy around to meet the original pain. So that's how a tangle forms. A tangle is a constellation of parts to manage the original pain or difficulty or stoppage. So I want to pause there. That share. Thank you. Someone asked a question. Two people. What is the difference between a defender and a protector? Yes, this is a good question. So the main difference, the names are awkward. I apologize for the names. I didn't come up with them. But basically, a defender is the one that takes action in your life, the one that takes you to the fridge, to the food, to the alcohol, to the Netflix, it acts. It takes over your body and does the action to protect you. It will numb you out. It will send you to sleep. It will, yeah, or it will avoid what's difficult. So that's what a defender is very much about action in the moment. Protectors are different. They have a lot to say. They have opinions about your tangle. They really don't have much power, but they do have a lot to say. Like I say, they're the backseat driver. So these backseat drivers don't really have a steering wheel, do they? They can't steer the car, but they can shout a lot about how you should drive. Anyone ever had a backseat driver or even been a backseat driver? We know the feeling when something terrible is in out of control in the front, and we're trying to make it change. So we start getting critical and we start getting judgy and we start getting angry, and none of that really helps. So yeah, you could say protectors speak and defenders act. That's my very simple difference. But they're both trying to manage the same thing. They're both trying to, in a way, deal with the same difficulty, but through different means. Yeah, I hope that was clear. Yeah, let's just check where we are. Okay. So yeah, any questions about anything I've said so far about um, this model of a tangle? I'll talk about how we meet the tangle in a minute. Does it make some kind of sense?
Mm.
Yeah, great. Someone else is coming in the room. Sagara.
Well, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but it sounds like most of the time we are either in a defender mode or I was the other name.
The
The
protector.
defender and
Protector.
the protector.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I might be exaggerating a little bit.
No, most of the time we are. I mean, I heard a recent study recently that said 80% of people's thoughts were self-critical. I thought, wow, that's a lot. 80, that's a lot of the time we're in critical. Yeah, you're saying, yeah. Your sound is bad. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. A little scratchy or something. Like it's not streaming properly.
Oh, okay. It could be because of all this is the streaming that's going on with YouTube. It might be interfering. I'll
Okay.
say less. I'll
Okay.
just shut up.
I like your questions. So yeah, and Amelie, yes, the protector criticizes the coping mechanisms the defender uses. Yeah, exactly. Have you ever found yourself criticizing yourself for the things you do to try and cope? I have. Why are you watching so much Netflix? You've got so much better things to do. Stop buying things on Amazon. So we criticize our coping mechanisms. So Maria Rosario asks, can the defender and the protector be the same person? Do you mean can they be in the same person? Or or yes, oh yeah, definitely. We have all these parts. We are all this and more. So definitely. When we might have many different kinds of defender, many different kinds of protector. We might have we have many different parts, for sure. And like Sagra was saying, and much of the time we can be, yeah, just identified with that part of us that's very critical of other people, of ourselves, or we're just compelled to act, always driven by the need to please, for example. That's another tangle, is the need to please. Don't feel bad if that's you, that's me too. Or I'm very avoidant of anger. That's also uh, typical tangle. So yeah. So the way through, I want to say something about the way through. Um, is deep empathy, also, or even just what we'll call love. Uh, radical. I'm going to put it radical welcoming. So really, what all of these parts need in us is our empathy, um, our love, our radical welcoming. The more we push these parts of us away, the less we can come into relationship with them. But the more we begin to learn to be curious, to come into relationship with them, the more we more we understand them, the more they can feel heard, and then they can let go of their jobs, let go of their criticism, let go of their protection. So their job really is the reason why they're there creating this tangle is because there's not enough empathy. That's why it formed originally. There was never enough empathy or love or acceptance. So our job as a kind of big person, as you now and your grown up self, is to develop empathy and take that to these different parts. Take that to the critical parts. That might seem like a new idea to you, to be friendly to our critical voices, to the backseat drivers, turning around, asking what are they worried about, to take the empathy towards the parts of us that go to the food or screens or to numb out, to feel better, to take our empathy to those places, and eventually, we can take our empathy to uh, the part of us that felt the pain originally. That's a all of those are healing, but particularly healing is this when we really allow ourselves to feel what could never be felt from empathy, from a place of safety, really allowing what was stuck to flow again. This is the image, allowing the river to flow. Um, yes. A typical, to come again to typical examples, one of the examples of something I find a lot in my work is grief, is buried grief. So the grief is the exile, the grief is sadness that we never could feel, never had the resources to feel. And we develop a protection around that. And critics and this whole tangle develops around it. But at its heart, it's yeah, there is grief, sadness, or pain, a loss that we never acknowledged. So yeah, that's a very simple explanation of our way through, and focusing and other methodologies also, internal family systems and self-compassion and meditation and mindfulness. All many of these things bring these qualities of curiosity and deep empathy to what we're with. I of course think focusing brings some real special gifts to this process. But empathy is the key, really, deep empathy. Yeah. So pausing there for some questions before we'll do a little experiential, particularly if something isn't making sense. Right. So the key, like I say, is bringing empathy to our experience, to all of our experience, not just all the good bits, but to every part of ourselves. And our exercise is really an exploration of stepping into that bigger self. How can we step into that bigger sense of self? I'm sure you have all had that experience when you've been able to be more curious about your feelings or somebody else's. You've felt bigger. You're not identified with keeping things away or identified with pleasing. You feel like you're a bigger person. So there's this. I'm going to guide us in a process that will, yeah, maybe help us touch that a little directly right now. I want to say also that it might not. So all guided processes, they work for some people. For some people, you might be too tired. It might be going too fast for you. So that's okay. Let yourself take it in. If the words fit, let them drop in. If they don't, let them go over. That's okay. We'll take about 10 minutes in this process. So feel free to be comfortable. You can have your video off, eyes closed, whatever works for you. So yeah, let's have a little explore. So maybe just beginning by letting your awareness begin to sort of gather, drop into here and now. You can sense the support of your body. Sense where your body meets the ground or the floor or the chair and let it rest in. Notice yourself in the room you're in, just through your awareness. And maybe noticing your breathing with a curiosity. Just your breath doesn't have to be different or even feel great, just noticing how it is. And letting your awareness also just notice the kind of inner experience of your body. In wherever way you feel that. You might notice your throat and your chest, your belly, but it could be very broad. Just notice your posture, notice your skin, your clothes. And in particular, noticing anything that feels okay right now. It could be your breath, or it could be something you're aware of, maybe your hands resting on your body, or the comfort of your clothes, something you can hear or smell, anything in your experience. Notice what feels okay, even if it's just a little. And then maybe just recalling your day today and noticing, was there a point in your day where you maybe felt irritated or anxious or uneasy or just some experience of kind of getting taken over by a feeling? Or maybe you felt compelled to do something. And choose something that's kind of not too difficult to be with. Some maybe a sensation or a feeling that was just a little difficult. And then instead of remembering it as an experience of all of you, I'm going to invite you to just say it back to yourself like this. Something in me got anxious. Something in me got impatient. Or something in me really wanted to switch off. These are just my examples. Use your words, your experience. Something in me, and it might be here right now. Something in me feels uneasy. Something in me is apprehensive. So notice those words. Instead of I'm apprehensive, I'm scared. Saying it like this. Something in me feels anxious. Anxious is a good one. I'm sure most of us have felt that in the day. Something in me, or a part of me. And then let's imagine ourselves being with it, like you might keep company with a friend or an animal, a dog, a scared animal, a pet. You can be with it, alongside it. See if you can feel a difference between you, a bigger you, and something that feels anxious, or whatever feeling there is there. Maybe there's a quality in the body, and you can notice the bigger body that's holding it. Not all of you feels tight. Maybe some of you, just some of your body feels that way. You could even imagine that this feeling is like a part of you to welcome around a fire or around your table you're in your home. It's not all of you, it's a part of you that maybe lost its temper or got caught up in shopping, eating, or something. Welcome it to the table with some curiosity or just an acknowledgement where you are here, the bigger you is here with this part of you. And you might even notice other parts right now, critical voices or different things you're carrying in your life. You could imagine all of those as parts of you around the fire. Where you are the listener. You are being with. You are the space in which all these parts of you can be. Even if there's a struggle to notice, struggle to welcome, that can be here too. You can be with that. You might be tired, and that can be here. So just take another minute or two, maybe picturing this image of a fire. I will share it for those who want a visual for it. Sharing this image. This is all these beings around a fire. The different parts of you that might be angry or sad or frustrated or wanting to not feel. So just take some time. And if anything I said is not fitting how you are, that's fine. You're not getting it wrong. It's more likely you're just having some other kind of experience. So wherever you are, be kind, be acknowledging of it. Okay. I'll gently bring that to a close. I'm gonna opening your eyes if they've been closed, moving your body if it's been still. You can just move your hands and feet, maybe stretching a little. And taking in the image, if you haven't done that already, I've shared the image of the fireplace. We don't sit around the fire much these days. No, we sit around screens, but still, image works. We know what it's like to sit around the fire with our friends, just be. So where everything is welcome, all the different parts of us are welcome. Okay, let's just have a few minutes for questions, or not questions, for observations. How was that process? Anything you noticed? I want to draw particular attention to this something in me, this language. This is really our first step at being with parts, learning to be with parts. Something in me feels anxious. You might be familiar with working with parts from internal family systems or other methods. I like this language, something in me. But yeah, what did you notice? Anything you want to share? Feel free to put things in the chat. I'll share something I noticed, which was it felt like a relief to not be pushing everything away.
Hmm.
I realized I've been pushing things away
Yeah.
a lot of the day. Oh, I
That,
had this bad feeling and the pain in my back and my anxiety about the pain in my back. Oh, it's all here. Yeah. Bye. Someone's going. Yeah, Sagara.
yeah, no, exactly. That was the first response from the rest of life. Ah,
Yeah, no, yeah.
as if I had spent the day living on a rather narrow band,
Yes, right.
narrow bandwidth of what's possible.
Yeah,
And just, yeah, say, oh, something in me is
yes.
feeling really overwhelmed and anxious. And I
Mm.
mean, it went on for quite a bit. The amount of
Oh, yeah.
parts.
Yes, yes.
But it's so paradoxical how the response to that acknowledgement, the possibility of being with them is actually of relaxation.
Yes, for
Even
sure.
though I think I spent a lot of my day battling with technology and feeling rather anxious and pressured by the whole thing
Yeah.
and in the compulsion to solve it as if not solving the problem was the end of the world. And I didn't solve it. And I hope my sound is better.
The sound is good. Yeah, it's better.
Yeah. And, it wasn't the end of the world. It did feel, a lot of it felt like that. And just, yeah, to acknowledge those parts is just a relief
Yeah,
not to be in that straitjacket.
yes. Yeah, exactly. Thanks. And yeah, it could go. Yeah, this was quite a short process. This is really just a taster, but yeah, it could go on for a lot longer. And to really bring that deep empathy to the parts, we would need longer. This is just a kind of hello, this is what's here today.
Rosario agrees with me. There's some Rosario in the chat. Yes, this could go on for for
Yeah,
longer.
exactly. Yeah, precisely. Yeah, this is just a
But
taste.
I still find it amazing how effective it is,
Yeah,
that change of perspective.
definitely. Just to pause. Yeah, to change your
Something
perspective.
in me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Anyone else want to? Oh yeah. There we go. Yeah. It was pleasant. And missing moments of untangling. Yes, you can. That's right. Yeah. So I want to just share something about the retreat coming up. It's a quick share about that. Very, just the brief details. Let me get the share again. So this is our a weekend retreat coming up, 29th of Saturday, 29th of November to Monday the 1st in the afternoon. So these are the topics we'll be exploring. How do we be our larger self? How can we cultivate the part of us that will bring empathy, the aspect of us that will bring empathy, where we all learn about being our larger self. We'll learn about being with parts, how to be with different parts of ourselves. We'll be touching on deep empathy. How do we take empathy? What is empathy? What does it really mean to take empathy to different parts of us, critical parts that are protective, parts that feel young and wounded? And we'll look also maybe the heart of it, really, the wisdom at the core, of the tangle. How can we see what happens is when we spend time with these parts, the critical parts, the parts that are protecting, defending, all of that, something very profound happens in the middle. The river that was blocked flows again, and we learn something about our life. We come into contact with what was exiled, and that can be a very profound and changing, a transformative moment to really meet the parts of our life that have been kept in the dark for so long. So those are our themes. I don't know if you want to say just a couple of minutes about the place. Sarah?
Okay. So Herdade do Freixo do Meio is I think, 10 kilometers from Monte Moro Novo, give or take. And that's about 55 minutes an hour from Lisbon. It is a 600 hectare um, property dedicated for the past 35 years or more to organic farming and is also a private nature reserve. So a lot of the land is dedicated to forest. And the animals that exist are very much part of that process of keeping the forest and all of that. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful place. Yeah, for me, it's a sacred place
Mm,
because it's been so well taken care of for centuries, more than just the past 35 years. So to be
mm,
somewhere so pristine and so much nature, and so you feel so safe. You can walk for an hour and you're still within the property.
mm.
And Montado is such a lovely combination of big trees and space and beautiful skies. So yeah, I
Yeah,
love going there. So
yeah.
much so I have a little house there. So
It's very beautiful. It's a very ancient landscape. People have been living on that
yeah,
land for thousands of years.
yeah.
So you really feel the quality of care and love for the land. And yeah, it's rare to find that. So it's beautiful. So that's where we'll be for those 2 and a bit days. And yeah, to say Malta, yeah, yes, it is difficult. So to identify what tangles you, that's part of its nature, is we get tangled and then we're kind of inside of it. It's hard to step outside. So part of this process is yeah, building enough space and curiosity where we begin to see the threads. We can see the threads. So I want to just put in a link to Untangling, the page on my site about it. So this method is not my method, although I've been practicing it for a long time. So Anne Weiser Cornell and Barbara McGavin, who some of you may come across, have been teaching this, for 30 years. Let me just see. So there's a bit more detail on that page. Just give you a page to their website also. So there's Untangling retreats that they offer. They're longer retreats, 6-day retreats, but they were doing a mini version of that, the essence of it. So yeah, just so you've got some links to follow to find out more about this work. It's it's profound work. It's very compassionate and transformative. Anna, we've got time to do it. Can you tell a little bit more about the 2 days of the retreat you're giving? Yeah. Do you mean what we'll be doing together? The kinds of things? Is that what you're asking? Rather than the themes? Yeah. So yeah, we'll have 2 or 3 kind of teaching slots in the day, in the morning, afternoon, and the evening, where I'll be sharing some of the skills and practices of focusing and untangling, and and most of that will be you practicing it, either on your own or with somebody else, practicing it with somebody listening to you. It's very powerful. If you're very new to the whole process, you'll be guided from the beginning. If you know a little bit about focusing, you'll have like kind of longer processes as well. So it doesn't matter if you're completely new, you'll be taught. So yeah, it's really an experiential weekend where you'll be guided through a sequence of exercises to help you meet a tangle in your life. They'll be supplemented with times outdoors, times in nature. If you wish, I might even lead something outside into nature. I'll see what unfolds. We might sit around a fire, literally, if we can. That'd be nice. There's fire inside the space. We might go out. And there'll be meals, obviously, together. Community is a big part of a retreat. So being together, supporting each other, and also just letting go of our daily life. Just one of the lovely things about a retreat is we get to put things down. We can leave our phones somewhere and just be in the present moment with ourselves and with each other. So I hope that gives you a bit of a flavor of our time together. Really, I would say the whole thing is a journey into curiosity and empathy. A journey into curiosity and empathy. Yeah. So that feels like a place to finish for me. Unless there's any last minute questions. So if you want to, can you put a link to the page on your
You mean
website, Upaya site website
yeah.
page as well? So yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. You can do that through my website. If you have questions about the retreat, in terms of practicals, probably contact Sagara through Upaya. I hope to see some of you there or on some other event. If Untangling if you feel like it's something to follow up, feel free to do that in any way that seems fit. If the retreat isn't the right thing, but there's a great book called Untangling, which I don't have right here, but there's a book by Anne Weiser Cornell and Barbara. Amazing book. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
See you another time.
Thank you, Peter.
That's all right.
Looking forward to being on retreat with you. I'll be
Great.
there.
Yeah, good. See you in a few weeks. Yeah.
See you in a few
Bye
years.
for now. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.